London is my name. I'm 34 years old and work for a corporation. I've been working for the same company since I graduated from university. A number of my coworkers quit the company to establish their own business, marry, or have children. In such a case, I remained at the same company, dedicating myself to my work every day. You may believe I am a lonely workaholic woman, but I am not, because I have Charles as a boyfriend. Charles was a business associate. I thought of him as a decent young man who was dedicated to his career. We became attracted to each other after working with each other multiple times. He'd admitted his feelings for me, and then we began dating. We've been dating for a couple years now. We are now even engaged. But if you ask me if I'm not concerned about marrying him, I have to acknowledge that there are some concerns. Because he is still in his youth. I am younger than I am. I'm not sure if he'd mind me being so much older than him. He claims that age is irrelevant. His father, by the way, is a company owner. Charles works for his father's business. That means Charles will eventually take over the corporation and become its president. I'm worried that his parents may object to our marriage. I've been worried about it for a long time. Of course, I was overjoyed when he proposed marriage to me, but I'm not sure we'll be able to marry. Charles, on the other hand, didn't appear to mind. One of the things I liked about him was his optimism. He had already met my parents, and they frequently shared a great dinner. My parents had previously agreed that we would marry, and my folks adored Charles. The day has finally come to visit Charles' parents. I had been anxious about visiting them for weeks. It was a gorgeous house, as one would expect from the home of the company's president. It was a massive mansion that made me feel like I was in a royal palace. At the time, I was wondering if my attire was proper for this location. I could pack some nice outfits for the event, but I wasn't sure if they were appropriate. I was born into a Nomer household. In comparison to Charles' house, it would be a world apart. When we went on vacation, Charles would always arrange expensive hotel rooms and treat me to a lovely supper at a posh restaurant. He believes that such behavior is entirely normal, and I have the impression that he lives in a different world than myself. Nonetheless, he never imposed his ideals on me, and he never boasted about his wealth. I don't judge people based on their financial situation. Your personality and inner attractiveness drew me to you. At first, I wondered why he was dating an older, less attractive woman like me. But his kind words made me believe, and he truly accepted me for who I am. In other words, Charles and I are marrying because we love each other from the inside out. I believe I have met a truly amazing dude, so I need his parents' permission for this marriage. Don't be concerned, darling. I've already mentioned you to my folks. He attempted to encourage me. The front door then opened, and his mother greeted us. Welcome, you have to be? Where is London? Yes, my name is London. It's a pleasure to meet you. His mother nodded quickly and let us in where we found this enormous living room. Charles's father was waiting for us on a large, comfortable, fluffy sofa. All of a sudden, I was nervous. Of course, I was nervous when I met his mother, but his father was even more frightening, as one would expect from a company president. It's great to finally meet you. London is my name. Thank you for the invitation today. I felt my voice twist inside out. He smiled as he looked at me. Don't be so worried. His parents, on the other hand, were not smiling and were staring at me with very icy eyes. My spine began to tighten. Please take a seat. His father motioned for me to take a seat on the sofa. It's similar to a job interview. No, it does not. Please excuse me. His father said that as soon as I sat down, and his mother followed him and agreed with him. What are you doing, Mom and Dad? What exactly do you mean? No, it's impolite to mention such a thing. Charles was outraged and attempted to defend me, but his parents did not appear to be listening. In any case, how old are you? You appear to be quite ancient to me. I'm 34. Oh my goodness. Charles is 6 years older than you. How can we accept Charles marrying a lady your age? That's what his mother told him. Furthermore, it is too late for you to have children. Isn't that right? We require someone who can provide us with grandchildren. As for me, I believe it must be a young woman, at the very least younger than Charles. I was certain they wouldn't bring up my age, and at your age, you're still single. I can't help but think you're having a problem. Perhaps you are overly demanding or have a negative demeanor. Something along those lines. What are you on about, Mom? London is an amazing individual with a fantastic personality. So why hasn't she married yet? A stinging inquiry from his mother erupted. Please excuse me. Although I am older to be married, I enjoy my job and wanted to put in more hours. I've always put my career ahead of my marriage. That's why I waited until I was this age to marry. I didn't understand why I wanted to be married until I met Charles. The pressure from his parents nearly overcame me. I did my best to twist my words, but his parents' attitude remained unchanged. What? And it's not as if the corporation you work for is large. Do you not get paid much if you work hard and get promoted? I believe you should concentrate more on improving your attractiveness as a lady. It would be great if you could. Yes, yes, yes. Even at your age, you may improve your appearance. Perhaps some cosmetic surgery might be beneficial. That's a little too direct, honey. For the first time, I saw his parents laugh. But that's when they started making fun of us. I was astonished and enraged. I was at a loss for words. You believed you'd be able to marry my son. Your standard is not the same as ours. Don't even think about joining us. In any case, you were not the ideal person for my son. Leave now. That's how my father-in-law addressed me. My mother-in-law also got in on the act. You have contacted Charles for money regardless. I have no idea how you managed to deceive my son, but you are unable to deceive us either. That's all there is to it. You guys are free to say whatever you want, but this is my life. I'm going to determine who I'm going to marry. Charles was attempting to defend me when I intervened. I completely get how you feel. But despite the fact that we've only met, it's pretty impolite of you to say such nasty things to me. I don't care if you're wealthy or not. It makes no difference to me. But even if I became wealthy, I would never want to be like you. I stood up after saying that. We wouldn't have to talk about it anymore. And I walk out of his parents' home. You had to be kidding me. Don't you dare to offend us. We will never let you marry my son. In any case, I don't want to be associated with someone like you. His father fought back when I stated that. You are a disgraceful person. I'd like to see the parents who brought up a woman like you. I ignored him and dropped my parents off at Lou's place. Their attitude was simply out of control. I walked outside, frustrated, and Charles came racing up to me, panicked. I'm sorry, London. I never expected my parents to say something like that. That was a terrible thing to say. Perhaps this is a good thing. Marrying in that situation would have caused significantly more stress. In any case, I'm leaving. I'm not taking over Dad's business. I'm also leaving the company. You should not make such a hasty decision. I'm not. London, I truly adore you. We didn't get together for the sake of money, so I shouldn't have any problems leaving the house. That is correct, but let's go to your parents' house and tell them what's going on. He took my hand in his and began walking. Our unexpected visit took my parents aback, but they graciously welcomed us. We told my folks about what transpired over tea. My father sat there silently, listening to us. Charles, is your father's company called Space Sea? And Henry Ward is your father's name. True, but why? That's what I assumed. I see. Why don't we accompany you to your parents' house right now? What's happening, Dad? They said they wanted to see our faces, didn't they? So shall we go expose our faces? I was taken aback when my father, who is not easily irritated, was prepared to leave. But my father was prepared to leave. As a result, we had no choice. We ended up going back to his parents' house. Charles' father, not his mother, answered the door this time. You once again. I will not forgive you, no matter how many times you return. Who do you suppose you were speaking to, Henry? My father-in-law rolled his eyes at me. It took him a few seconds to notice something. Andrew, mister, is it you? You are at long last remembered. Is that your daughter? That indicates you're her father. That's correct. She is my only child. She came into our lives later in our marriage. How dare you, by the way, insult my lovely daughter? Have you forgotten what I told you 3 years ago? No, as you can see, I covered for you and gave you an opportunity to become a better person when you were arrested for smoking and drinking or even shoplifting, didn't I? I did everything I could to help you acquire a good job. Didn't I educate you that no one can live alone and that we all rely on one another? And yet, if your company is thriving, you've forgotten everything, haven't you? I am sincerely sorry. Charles' father is presently in poor health. We've come a long way from where we were before. If you are the president of a company, you must treat your employees with care. You believe you're better than others because you've achieved success. Don't you ever look down on people when you shouldn't? So it seems he is aware of the statement. Oh, in that case, my boss always complains about stomach pains caused by stress. Are you bothering him, Dad? What are you on about? I'm just being difficult because I expect more from him. However, fathering is beginning to unravel. You've returned to your old self, just as I thought you'd finally come to your senses. Do you realize how much of a pain you are, Henry? First and foremost, I would like you to apologize to my daughter for offending her. Yes, I apologize, London. My father accused my father-in-law, who lowered his head toward me. The master-slave relationship that we established in our bodies as students seems difficult to change. You should apologize to her as well, honey. Her mother-in-law also bent her head. His parents' apology made me feel better. Hey, I'm leaving this house as well as the company. Charles informed his parents of this at the time. His parents were terrified. Wait a minute. If you depart, who will take your place? Your father is correct. You're the last one we have. I'm tired of you dictating everything to me. I plan to create my own business and see how far I can get on my own. And as promised, I will marry London. Thank you very much. Charles bent his head as he bid his folks farewell. Their bows had frozen. They got absolutely white, but we ignored them. My father was a high school teacher until he retired. I had no notion Charles's father was a student of his. I went to the website of the company Charles works for. Then Henry's photo appeared. At first, I was pleased to discover that one of my students had accomplished something significant. Money cannot sublimate you into forgetting what is vital. My father was a passionate teacher who was always severe about such matters. Charles eventually resigned his job and launched his own business. As I continued to work, I offered him my support. Charles appears to be a gifted company owner, and his company is profitable even at this early stage. We eventually married and became husband and wife. Every day we live with delight and encourage one another. Some of his staff sued my father-in-law for power harassment. As a result of this, his termination as president caused the stock price to fall. After all, no matter how well things are going, I recognize the importance of humility and compassion. I'm grateful to have my father as a role model. I will treasure what my dad taught me and strive to live a dignified life.